Let us introduce you to one of the most interesting stories that took place in Japanese history, the Sengoku Jidai, meaning the warring shoguns period of Japan. This era usually brings to mind great castles, epic battles, and samurai wearing elegant kimonos while carrying their katanas. And in Japan, during those times, things were mostly like that. But we're going to tell you about an interesting event that happened during that period. Among those samurai, there was also a black man who came from East Africa. This is the story of Yasuke, the first man from outside Japan to become a samurai, and also the only known African samurai. To understand Yasuke's story, we first need to take a look at the world of that time. At the beginning of the century, the Portuguese Empire had established many trade points in Asia. In 1543, they reached southern Japan. Their aim was to increase trade in Japan and spread their culture and religion. At that time, Japan was very dependent on silk coming from China. However, the Ming Emperor had forbidden trade with Japan. The Portuguese saw a commercial opportunity here. They started buying silk from China and bringing it to Japan. In this way, they took over the transfer process between the two countries, became intermediary merchants, and made great profits from this trade. Soon after, the Portuguese established a trading port in Nagasaki, and it quickly turned into a large trading center. Of course, where European merchants went, missionaries soon followed. The Catholic Jesuit order established a strong presence in southern Japan. Their aim was to convert Japan to Christianity. One of the pioneers of this movement was Francis Xavier. After some time, several daimyo lords and more than 200,000 Japanese had become Christian. At the same time, the Portuguese were also establishing colonies in Africa. They had a strong presence, especially in the region we know today as Mozambique, and unfortunately they also participated in the local slave trade. Based on historical estimates, Yasuke's story most likely began there. The fact that a man from Africa became a samurai in Japan is a historical reality, and a very interesting one. However, what we know about him is quite limited. His real name is unknown. Where he was born is not known exactly. There is very little information about his childhood. Most of what we know comes from the name given to him by the Japanese, Yasuke. According to another piece of information, it is said that the Japanese themselves chose and gave him the name Yasuke. According to some historians, Yasuke was born around 1555 in Mozambique and belonged to the Makua, a Bantu people. Another theory claims that he came from Ethiopia. There's no exact information about this. Most likely he was enslaved as a child and given to Jesuit priests. There he received Christian education and was raised within the Jesuit lifestyle. After some time, he was given to the service of Jesuit inspector Alessandro Valignano. Valignano's duty was to supervise, manage, and increase Jesuit activities in Japan. And so, in 1579, our protagonist Yasuke first set foot in Japan. The Japan Yasuke arrived in was going through a very turbulent period. The country had been in the Sengoku period for years. Many small feudal states were fighting each other. But at that time, a powerful warlord named Oda Nobunaga had begun conquering much of Japan. In 1581, Yasuke came to Kyoto together with Valignano. The people of Kyoto had never seen a black person before. For this reason, Yasuke quickly became a subject of great curiosity in the city. People looked at him with strange and curious eyes. Rumors spread, and people even broke the doors of the Jesuit church just to see him. Yasuke stood out not only because of his skin color, but also because of his height. He was almost a head taller than the average Japanese man. The fame of this mysterious foreigner eventually reached Oda Nobunaga. Nobunaga wanted to see Yasuke. When they first met, Nobunaga did not believe his skin was naturally black and thought it was paint, so he ordered Yasuke to be washed. Soon after, he realized that the color of his skin was natural. From that moment on, he became very interested in this powerful foreigner. And it was around that time that he was given the name Yasuke. Nobunaga was quickly impressed by Yasuke's strength and character. It is even said that he praised him by saying he had the strength of 10 men, and saw him almost like an entire army on his own. In the summer of 1581, Nobunaga officially took him into his service. Thus Yasuke became a samurai. He was given a house-land samurai clothing and a katana. Yasuke was now fighting alongside Nobunaga in battles. He may have fought against the Takeda clan in the Battle of Tenmokuzan, and possibly in many other battles for which there is no definite information. Seeing an African warrior fighting among samurai was truly an extraordinary sight. His skin color, height, and physical build made him stand out even more. But this story did not last very long. Things eventually went off track. In 1582, while Nobunaga was resting at the Honnoji Temple in Kyoto, he was betrayed. One of his generals, Akechi Mitsuhide, betrayed him and surrounded the temple. Yasuke fought until the very end. But eventually Nobunaga had to commit seppuku to avoid capture. Yosuke managed to escape and joined Oda Nobunaga, Nobunaga's son. He fought there as well. However, that battle was also lost, and Nobunaga was forced to commit seppuku. Yosuke was captured. Mitsuhide despised Yasuke and did not even consider him human. But because he was not Japanese, he did not kill him. Instead, he sent him to the Christian church in Kyoto. And thus, Yosuke returned to the Jesuits once again. After that, there are no records of Yosuke's life. The information we have ends there. We do not know whether he left Japan or died there, but the story of a slave from Africa becoming a samurai in Japan is truly a unique story. Perhaps Yasuke's story shows us one thing. Sometimes history can take even the most ordinary people to extraordinary places.